And so hit the 6.5-year mark, I'm 10% owner in the company, and I'm completely miserable. And I've burned out, and I realized that entrepreneurship had given. It was making me stronger, bigger, faster, and now it was beginning to take away because I didn't care about the product. I didn't love what we were doing. I wasn't passionate. I was just chasing money, and money just wasn't that interesting. At that point, on paper, we both know the difference between paper money and real money.
Right.
But on paper, I was a multimillionaire. And I went in and I said, guys, here's your equity back. I'm quitting. I'm not crossing the finish line, so I don't think I should get anything for this. And it actually ended up being like a really cathartic moment where we could all say what we'd been feeling, which is, yeah, none of us are happy. And so it became, well, if we're going to keep doing this, if we're going to keep building businesses, because by then it was very clear to me the struggle is guaranteed, the success is not. And so I'm going to go do something I love. And they agreed, they felt the same. So we said, okay, well, what would we build that we would love even if we were failing? And so for 3 very different reasons, that became a nutrition company. And for me, it was, I grew up in a morbidly obese family. My uncle essentially ate himself to death when I was 12 years old, and it was scary and sad. My mom is morbidly obese, has been my entire life. My sister's morbidly obese, has been almost her entire life. My dad at one point was morbidly obese and then lost weight, but it was like, that's just where my family lived.
Yeah.
And so I was like, they're going to die far sooner than they need to. And there's this great Mother Teresa quote, nobody will act for the many, but people will act for the one. And so I just needed to wake up every day and think about my mom and my sister, and that was it. And I thought, I can show up every day and fight for them. It's not about the money anymore. I can fight for them. And look, a lot of business acumen went into this. This was not just, we had good intentions and it built a big business. It was, we understood business, right? I'd now been in business for 8.5 years, grinding it out, building this technology company, which was hard as hell. But now we were able to marry that. And by the way, we took the tech company through the recession and everything. So I mean, it was like, I'd taken some knocks. So we really understood business at this point. And so now we were going to start something predicated entirely on value creation. That was like our mantra. Doesn't matter what's more profitable. Matters what adds more value. And so we literally were saying these things. And we didn't actually throw our hands in a pile. I wish we had, be a cooler story. But like, all but that said, and each of us needs to have fun every day.
But I got to ask you, you entered a space, dude, that was loaded with people already. There's like, I'm reading this thing, like 1,600 different flavors or companies in the same exact space, right?
In a category that had been declining for years.
Right, it was going the other direction,
it was like the most, they say, look for blue ocean where there's no blood. This was red ocean as far as the eye could see.
You're like a decade after Bill Phillips and EAS or whatever, right? So like, it's unbelievable. You start Quest. I'm curious, success leaves clues, right? So take us a little bit through Quest for a few minutes. What made it work? Like, what did you do that was crazy that other people didn't do? Because I've told you before, my first podcast, didn't even know who you were at the time. I used Quest products. I actually endorsed them, not knowing you, on the first podcast I ever put out, because they tasted so damn good, to be honest with you. Was that part of the thing you guys wanted to do? Like
100%.
It was? So that was purposeful.
Yeah. Our mantra was, you can tell the world to eat less and exercise more, and it will work for every single person ever that's ever done it. But the reality is, the vast majority of the world will not do that. And we already know that, right? So people have been saying that for like 60, 70 years. And so we're moving in the wrong direction. So our thing was, don't change behavior, leverage it. So we already know people will eat things they want to eat. You can't stop people from eating a chocolate chip cookie. So the question was, could you make a chocolate chip cookie that was actually good for them? So that metabolically, it was actually advantageous to eat that cookie. Could we bust our asses that hard to make that thing? And so it wasn't easy, but now we had a mission. We wanted to end metabolic disease. Now, when you have that clarity, I know people are going to eat things based on taste purely. So we know we have to address that, which is why we made snack foods instead of like, coming out with broccoli and, steamed. Yeah, exactly. We made chips. And so, but if you called Quest and said, hey, I want to get in shape, what should I eat? Our answer was boiled chicken breast and steamed broccoli. Because that's the truth. Right? So we're not trying to pull a fast one. We want people to know they can trust us. We know where our products fit in. When you absolutely have to have a chocolate chip cookie, eat our chocolate chip cookie. Right? So that was our shtick. And so we went to manufacturers and thought, okay, we'll get this made by other people just like everybody else. We're a marketing company. We don't want to be a manufacturing company. And they just said, this bar can't be made. They're like, and they couldn't put words around it, but what we realized was the reason the bar couldn't be made, because I'm sure many people thought, hey, let's make a bar that tastes great but doesn't have sugar. But then they won't run through the machinery. So for the last 70 years, equipment has been made to spec to make things that have high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup has a very specific viscosity. Once you take that out, even if you replace it with another liquid binder, it's just entirely different. So it wouldn't run through the equipment.
And you knew none of this prior to it. Right.
I remember when my partner came and said, we need to become our own manufacturer. We were all like, what? Like, it just sounded so absurd.
Yeah.
But he was like, look at it. The evidence is there. These guys aren't going to do it. We can't trust, even because if we're manufacturing with them and they're starting to fall behind and the cost of the bar is going up because it's having trouble on the equipment, they will put ingredients in to make it run more smoothly. And he was like, we've just seen it because we knew other people in the industry. And he was like, we've seen it too many times. So we can't trust it. And if we're going to build a business based on trust, then we have to do it ourselves. So naivete of the beginner, we had no idea how enormous that task was. By the time I left, we had over 300,000 square feet of storage and manufacturing. It was insanity. 1,400 employees. Bars are coming off the line at the rate of 1.5 million a day. Like it's like a machine gun. It's crazy. So my father-in-law obviously had been watching the journey from day one, and but he hadn't been to America since we launched the company. And so he'd seen, he's struggling a bit at awareness technologies, and they're starting this new protein bar company, which sounds like financial suicide to him.
Yeah.
But okay, if that's what you guys want to do. And so when he came, he didn't realize how big it had gotten. And we had reported the numbers to him, but we kept it really dry with him. He's not a guy you hype. So it's like, this is our top line revenue. And I think some part of him thought he wasn't understanding it. Because it was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Revenue, not valuation, revenue.
Yeah.
And so like some part of him just couldn't quite allow himself to believe it had gotten that big. Because we were in the same house. We were driving better cars by that point. But it was no drastic lifestyle change because we were just pumping everything back into the business. So he comes over and we're walking the floor, and it's the one we were in at that time was over 100,000 square feet. 800 employees scrambling around him. He's crazy. The bar's coming off, everything. We've walked him around the whole facility, and people are greeting me like the boss, man. So it was like, Tom, thank you so much. Like really, really kind, generous people, busting ass on the line. And if you show them kindness, they show you kindness in return. They didn't know he was my father-in-law. They just wanted to come and say hi. So he's seeing like people who seem legitimately happy to see me, and all of this madness going on. And I said, Andreas, do you remember when you asked me how I was going to take care of your daughter? And he said, yes. I said, how am I doing? And he just started to cry.
Dude. Because Lisa's here too. I've just pictured that story, bro. Like all you had been through. And I know probably for you in that moment, that was probably more important to you than, say, that nice car you were now driving, right?
No question.
Like you're a pretty stoic dude sometimes when I watch you. And like you should just see your face changing even when you start to tell that story. Like in this amazing life you've had, that is one of the great moments of your life. I know that because you love her so much.
You will know this more than most. When you're young and nowhere, but you've got belief in yourself, and you make a promise to somebody that you love and you mean it. You don't know how you're going to do it yet, but you really mean it. Like sincerely, I'm not going to stop working until I do that thing. And then you actually do it. I can't give a gift in this human life that is better than that. There isn't anything. Like I remember stroking a check to my mom that had a lot of commas and zeros. And that was unimaginably cool. Like whatever cool thing you think you're gonna buy, it won't compare to someone in your life who's struggled. And you just, in a stroke, you make the struggle just go away.
You're right.
And
if they knew how good it felt, you'd work even harder. As good as you think those moments are, they're a million times better.
No question.
They're a million times better if you knew how great those moments were. By the way, this is the part where you just rewind the last 90 seconds and play that back for yourself again, because you may not hear something more profound in your life than what he just told you. Because in my life, in my journey of all this stuff and things, there's a handful of those moments that made all of those things worth it. And it isn't a house physically for myself or a really fast car. And we both agree those things are awesome and you should have them. But it's the things you can do for the people that you love, that you admire, that are a million times worse. So I'll be honest with you, having a beach house is about what I thought it would be. It's incredible. It's great. But the things I've been able to do for my family have exceeded what I thought they would be like.